top right-hand side of our grand finals of the ESL Open Cup Europe. His first ever ESL Open Cup. No surprise he's here in the finals. I read Zerg in the top right from NC Sports. This is Serral. As in the bottom left, our blue Terran player from Team Liquid. This is Clem. Alright, so Clem and Serral obviously played a 6 series the last few times they've played. I mean, when Clem plays TvZ, it always seems like it's really, really sick. It was really, really cool. You know, I mean, we got to see Clem kind of fighting a Serral playing a good series. He won the last time. The season before, he lost to Serral in a 6-5 game series. I mean, it feels like these are the matches we've been waiting to have happen all year long after that meeting in the Zelnaga Finest tournament, the Red Bull tournament, where Clem reverse swept Serral. He was down 0-2 and he won 3 in a row to win it all. I mean, it was just sick, right? Like, from that point on, we've been waiting for more Clem versus Serral again and again. It's pretty legit. So yeah, these are the kind of series we want to see. These are the series we want to watch. I mean, I'm very excited for this being our final. Excited that Serral signed up for an Open Cup. Excited that he's in the finals against Clem. This was the finals I wanted to see personally. So very, very excited to get a cast this one as we go into this best of 5, of course. 200 euros for first place, 100 euros for second. Some ESL Pro Tour points on the line as well. Let's just see our Overlord coming down to the bottom side and looking to see what's gonna be going on. Reaper coming through, gonna be heading up to the upper right hand side. Command sent onto the natural, and yeah, just a little bit of a setup to see what's gonna happen. I like it. Reaper coming across the map, looking for a scout in the early stages. Couple of queens, a few lings, continuing to build, and a couple of drones. Really nothing too crazy yet, as we'll see what Clem wants to do on Everdream to start us off. It is a second gas, so no super fast 3cc. Do have our Reaper is coming straight up into the natural, taking some damage away. A couple of drones getting brought back, and well, let's see what this Reaper can do. I was kind of watching Clem versus one of the Zergs, I think Lambo on Roddy's stream earlier, and he was just like an absolute monster with this Reaper, getting creep tumors, Zerglings. He's going to find a creep tumor here. Oh, I actually think he mistargeted initially, and he could have had that creep tumor with more health left on the Reaper. The good news is the Reaper is far enough away to regen a little bit before it gets in range of the Queen again. Is it going to regen enough? Loops around the bottom side. He's just buying time to regen so he can maybe get out. Grenades the Queen, dodges the Zerglings. Clem is out of there. Queen on the low ground, there is. He's going to go to the top side. This Reaper's still trying to escape. It's regenerating once more. It's going to come around this mineral line. It's buying time. He's going to start picking away at drones. The drones get a shot or two off. The Ling's still chasing. The Queen's trying to get in range. The Reaper takes another hit. It's running circles around this, but now the Queens are going to catch it, and the Reaper finally goes down. What a dance. If he didn't go in the mineral line, I actually think this Reaper gets out alive. I think he could have come back around the back of the natural and come back out into the front. What a play by Clem. I mean, he doesn't get out in the end, but I actually think it was amazing. He did so much with it. Oh, that was sick. All right, a couple of Hellions turning back around as the Queens are building up. A Liberator on the way from Clem, going to rally out onto the map. And that's going to be 4 Hellions over on the far right side here. Oh, Ling's having a catch, taking down a Hellion. And these other Hellions chasing. I mean, that's a great catch. 4 Lings getting 1 Hellion. How does that happen? Great effort from Serral to get us around right there. Really, really nicely done as a couple of Queens continue to build up. And we do have our Queens all joining over on that right-hand side. So these Hellions shouldn't get in and get anything done, really. Don't know why this one peeled away. Bane Nest on the way from Serral, so no super fast lair or anything. Happy to just go into the pretty early Baneling Nest, and just going to be seeing a couple of Spore Crawlers on the way up, couple of Lings, couple of Overlords, Stimpak coming through on the racks, and we're going to be seeing the Armory from Clem on the way in this main base. There's a few Hellions on the far right-hand side. Liberator coming back along, and just going to be seeing a couple of Queens coming through. And more of these Hellions continue to set up from Clem, so all of this joining together. I mean, the thing is, Clem loves this Liberator Hellion opener into the bio. He really finds damage with it a lot of the time, but now the Liberator is already having to kind of sweep back around the other side of the map already. That's obviously a pretty big deal. I mean, that's a lot of time where this Liberator isn't active, not even forcing minor drone pulls. So really good early game for Serral for the most part here, as we're going to be seeing the Hellions going to get one more joined up. There is coming through. You actually just see just straight on top, forces the drone pulse, Spore relocates, Lib will unload and unsiege and go behind the mineral line and do a similar siege up to try and deny mining a bit further. He actually has the armory to Hellbat attack, but I actually didn't really pay much attention to that because I wasn't really thinking it was an opportunity, because it felt like Clem just didn't do much early here to justify getting into a Hellbat attack. But yeah, that doesn't really do anything at all, so that was about as successful as I would have imagined. Lib just sieged up in the corner, waiting to go again. Maybe that natural expansion is a bit of an opportunity as the Hellbats continue back along over the right side. Fourth hatchery already down in position, and the 1-1 upgrades of Clem getting started on the back of those engineering bays. So yeah, I mean, he did keep a lot of the Hellbats alive. It's just 100 gas investment on the armory that obviously didn't really come to anything in the end, right? This didn't do anything at the end of the day. Hellbats to Clem back over to the left-hand side. 14 more Zerglings in production. And finally, the melee upgrades from Serral on the way, too. So he's playing, pretty late lair tech here. He is finally now going to start up the Spire. He prioritizes Baneling speed, so he really wants to make sure he's got that Baneling speed available. He wants to make sure those are going to be up for the first fight. When that 1-1 attack of Clem hits with Stim and Medivacs, he wants to make sure Bane speed's up so he can really fight back. I mean, this is going to hit a little bit before then. He already has Stim. He's going to fly into an Overseer. Does he want to drop to fight that? That might not be a bad unload and kill, because honestly, that's, now Serral already knows you're coming up this way with a drop. And also, an Overseer is not just an Overlord. It's that gas investment into it as well. So that might be like a nice little bonus. Ling counterattack moving in. Where are the Hellions at? They are still alive. They're on the third base. They can come to respond. And this is why Clem leaves those Hellions alive, and it's why it's so important he actually keeps them alive after the earlier little Hellbat attack, because it shuts down a run by like this one pretty easily. He forces Serral to run back. Nice split away with the... Oh, yeah, okay, the drones take damage in the end. Nice split away on the first Ling that ran over up here, because that was going to be a big connection. I thought it was going to be a huge Ling connection when everything was clumped up here, but it went to the Widow Mine, to the mineral line instead. The Lings were just out of range. Nice job well done, basically, as these Marines coming in, Overlords... Sorry, Crypt Team is going down. I've really messed up so many unit names today. I apologize for the lack of good talking, I suppose. As you do see 14 more Lings in production. We do have a few Hellbats then still on the right side. Now he's less worried about counters, so... I mean, this soaks up some Banes, but not really that much. And he took a lot of splash in the process. I don't even think it's that good for Clem. Would have preferred those Hellions to stay alive, just even defensively. He can do so well against the Lings, although it's getting to the point where they've got no upgrades, and that changes things a little bit too. Still getting good value out of these drops, by the way. Still has the Widow Mine in the main base as well. And Clem just making the most out of this. Considering the first, I'd say, like, the first 4 or 5 minutes didn't go, like, amazing for Clem. Like, not much really happened apart from the Reaper getting a Creep Tumor. I actually think he's done pretty well from that point on, because usually if you walk in with Hellbats and you kind of try and fight Serral and you don't get anything done, you fall much further behind than where we are right now, right? Queen's dropping the Creep Tumors down in the middle of the map. We have Marines, Widow Mines coming out over the right-hand side. Scan goes down. Creep Tumors being picked away at. And our Lings are just going to run straight down to the bottom left side, trying to run into that natural expansion. Widow Mines get burrowed up. Oh, he doesn't get them burrowed up. They actually managed to get killed off in time. With the mutas here as well, this is dangerous because now you can start a camp production. Missile turrets can't go up because of the Lings being here too. And, well, he actually splits some Marines away to the third. He's expecting the run by onto the third as the rest of this happens. Good play by Serral. He actually opens up the main base so he can actually get in with the Lings. But this is a good play from Clem, predicting the mutas would come back out this way. It was either going to be a strike on the third base one way or another, and I like the fact he split those Marines away. That forward thinking is one of the reasons Clem is such a strong player. Yeah, that was cute. Cute little move from Clem. Yes, it didn't work out. He didn't catch the mutas, but it stopped the mutas showing up into a third that was unprotected otherwise. Really nice done. Sorry, I'm saying third base. It's the fourth base, right? Planetary Fortress is up there, etc. But you get what I mean. Protecting that base. Sorry, again. For some reason, numbers and words just not mixing in my head well together today. Couple of Creep Tumors going down, and a Widow Mine peels off to the left. Now, Ling Muta looks as though it wants to be aggressive into this fourth, and there's not really anything nearby for Clem. So unless he wants to turn everything around, but he's really pushing heavily on this right side, getting onto the creep spread at this stage. Maybe looking to deny this lower right base of Serral if possible. Getting a lot of his Widow Mines into position. The first round of Bane showing up. First Widow Mine will not get to go off. Nor will the second, nor will the third. All Widow Mines so far blown up by Banes and not connecting at all. This one gets a good chunk of Banelings. Finally something. And the one on the left side gets a couple units as well as Clem stays split up, but it's still on creep. So there's still concerns there. Widow Mines kind of trailing onto the Marine army. And I think Serral kind of is getting to a point where he maybe just has too much. Right now, in this moment, he has 2-2 against 0-0 Clem. Can he make something happen with that? Answer, absolutely not. Mutas are getting every single medevac. The Marines are being taken down. And Serral gets some insane value here. Pulls back to go clean up a couple of these Widow Mines here and there. And that seems to be his job well done, because he pushed Clem's army back without an issue in the end, really. Just have to pick the right fight. Again, Widow Mines are now being cleaned out around the map, so well, Clem's not going to be able to do too much else in terms of further drops just yet. Not without a fresh new investment. So that's obviously a bit of an issue as Lings and Mutas are going to go darting down the left side. They're going to find the medevacs. Here we go. Ling's going to come straight through the Widow Mine. It's a good chunk of Zerglings at least, so Widow Mine that actually gets a decent shot off. Once again, this time on the left side. It has just been, I don't want to make this narrative of like, oh, finally the Widow Mines, but like, this game, the Widow Mines haven't been best friends of Clem. There's been a couple that have been okay, but especially the last minute or two, a lot of these ones not getting connections at all, or, you know, just minimal connections, trailing onto the Marines. That one really did do Clem justice, and that's what he needs a little bit more of. I feel like, oh, these units are kind of just stuck here. Like, they're on their own. Clem's just kind of around the map with... It doesn't feel like Clem has one army on the map that's really, like, truly terrifying. You know, it's like that little clump of units, that wasn't scary. This clump of units, I don't think this is scary. Well, there's no units over here. He is reinforcing, but... I mean, it's just the numbers of where we're at right now as the Widow Mine's helping to get rid of some of those Banelings at the very least. Clem's going to have to deal with this army while also dealing with this counterattack. And this counterattack can just straight up blow up this planetary fortress. And yeah, there's a command center right next to it that you can maybe just replace it with right away. That's not going to replace all the SCVs if Serral just goes for them. And I think there's no reason for him not to. In the end, he actually pulls these Banes into the reinforcing Marines. Yeah, it does okay. In the end, he's actually killed like 12 plus workers, so that's not so bad. He eats a Widow Mine shot, but no follow-up, so the Mutas are still okay. And they're going to show up down to a third that only has a single missile turret on it. So that's going to be another handful of SCVs, and the Mutas getting so much done. Serral really controlled this game from early on. You know, I feel like Clem had one or two pushes that looked hopeful, but when Serral shut them down, he's really not let Clem get back into the game in the slightest. And he's playing a great game around the map. He's gone up to Hive without any issue. 3-3 and Adrenal Glands on the way. Good split away there. He knows this planetary fortress isn't online, so this Ling run by doesn't need Banelings in it to deny workers. And that's just good identification to be able to do as much as possible with as little as possible. Yeah, now the Mutas are still on this right-hand side as well. It's controlling these as he picks off another Widow Mine. And of course, with all these upgrades coming in, especially stuff like Adrenal, these Lings just become even scarier. Now the planetary fortress is done, and that's why Serral says, cool, time to get back into Banelings. Will he really be able to deny that? Clem does have a 5th base coming up. He's building multiple CCs at once at some point here to be able to expand while losing that left side base and also retaking this base. Top side map, we do have a hatchery already placed down, and just going to be seeing the army moving around. I mean, these Banes are just back into this planetary, and I mean, this time there's no rebuild on this planetary. There's no, you know, planetary next door that's going to just, or command center next door is just going to make it better. It's just going to replace it. Maybe could have got a few more SCVs there, but job's already done, right? That's what Serral wants. He wants to deny economy of Clem. That's how this style works. You deny the eco, you deny it again and again and again, and yes, you're playing an inefficient composition, but inefficiency doesn't matter if your opponent can't mine, and you're using the inefficiency to hit the economy, and that's a big important part. Denying these bases is very important. Going to deny this one coming back up. That's huge. Next step, this low ground base. That's got to be the next target here from Serral. Clem does get maxed out. This push is scary. Right here and now, pushing forward, Clem eats a few Banelings. Obviously, Serral's going to have more Banes on the way up. He can't afford to let all of these get cancelled. He is on creep. The Banes go crashing in. He's actually getting the denial on a lot of the Banes. Oh, Serral's in a bit of trouble all of a sudden. 64 Lings in production, not on the map right now as we're talking. I mean, on the counterattack, though, his production is going to be camped and shut down. So we're going to see Clem not really able to reinforce this, where Serral can give up a base to buy time for 23 morphing Banelings. I even think there was 6 that already just finished up, so I think this is going okay for Serral. He had to give up a base, but giving up a base is basically going to put him in a position now where he can clean up, because across the map he is winning the game. Muta's on top of this base. The main base production has been shut down for a long time, so reinforcements have just not been a thing. And Clem goes down to just 44 workers and still losing extras as the Mutaglaves bounce between SCVs with just a few extra shots toward the end right there. Titan is playing on the Ultraless Cavern as we do have Medivacs boosting around. Thor's getting a boost in, and the Mutalisks up the left-hand side just escaping away. Thors are continuing around. We see a few links just going to hit this bottom side. That's the problem. Clem doesn't have enough to be everywhere anymore. And obviously Serral is good enough player to be everywhere on the map. Even using the burrow here just to burrow up a few links. Clem spots that. Good spot. It's difficult to see when you're kind of dealing with other things at the same time, right? You're not necessarily always paying attention to where that counterattack came in. Serral just knows where the base is on planetaries, though, and he's just using the lings again and again to really leverage more and more advantages. Behind this, we mentioned the Hive Tech previously. Ultras are now on the map. We've not had to see Clem really fight Ultras just yet. He does have Marauders, 5 of them, not a lot, but it's something that at least that's going to be able to somewhat fight the Ultras a little bit more easily. And here we go yet again. This planetary goes down. How many times can you afford to replace this as Clem? I think that might be the last time. This base over here is an orbital, so that could float out somewhere. He's actually going to lift it and float it over and make it a planetary, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it, though. I mean, good on Clem, because he's been so good at replacing the bases every time to make sure you can put them back in position if necessary. As Lings are having a great time around the map as well, and that's going to be GG. And it's going to be Serral to pick up game number 1. An impressive display of Lingbane Muta where he took control of the game. He kept control of the game. And that's going to be Clem taking the Serral taking the 1-0 lead as yet again Wardy fights his own words. Bottom right-hand side of the map, we start off with the Red Zerg player who took the lead of the series. Pretty convincing game, through and through, I think. There was a couple moments his opponent had scary pushes, but really, he controlled it well. It's Serral in the bottom right-hand side of the map. Bottom left, blue, Terran. This is gonna be Team Liquid's Clem. Alright, so what went wrong? I do feel like Clem, you know, little things like he lost a Hellion to 4 Lings, and then he tried to go Hellbats. Hellbats that didn't do much, but I could appreciate that at least he preserved the Hellions and they came in useful. But that's still an armory investment, and it just felt like from that point on, Clem was pretty good with the first couple drops. And the first larger push of Clem I kind of believed a little bit. But Serral really did weather that storm. And every single push from that point onward really became a, you know, Serral's got enough. And then Serral started attacking absolutely everywhere. Like, he really was, you know? He was like left side, right side. He knew when a base was being morphed into a planetary, so he could just send the Zerglings forward. Right? He didn't need to send in Lings and Banes. He knew when it was a planetary, so he morphed the Banes, then attacked. And there was a couple times I feel like the Banes could have maybe hit a little bit extra. But for the most part, I mean, it's so difficult to deal with that sort of stage of the game when there's so many mutas hitting one base, there's Lings and Banes hitting another, you can't get a push on the map, so you can't clean up creep spread. It feels kind of hopeless as the Terran, because the Zerg just controls the map. Similar to if the Terran's dropping your main, pushing on the 4th base, and got a couple of Widow Mines dropping your 3rd, right? If you let that get out of control, if you give the Terran momentum in the game, you can't get creep out on the map, it feels hopeless as the Zerg, right? It's the two sides of the coin. So in this game, Serral really got the better coin flip. Not really a coin flip, but he, you know, to sit with the analogy. And he really, you know, managed to make it a pretty convincing game toward the latter stages. Some good stuff as we see. Obviously, Serral looking for an early hatchery on the bottom side of the map. I like it, changing it up. That's not super common here on Golden Wall for a Zerg player. They're pretty happy with the 1, 2, 3 bases. Just to see how that works. The only thing I'd say about it is if you don't take this base up here, I actually think this base is pretty well defendable, but if you don't take this base and you're kind of working out of here, you need to actually have control over here. Because if the Terran sieges up like here, you are screwed. Like, how are you ever going to fight that? You're going to have to loop around the bottom side, through the middle of the map, and then up and around to get the flank in. Like, that's horrible. Like, you do not want to be doing that in the slightest. You know, that is like the last thing that should ever be on your mind. So I don't really... Like, you have to control this area out here, which should be possible, right? You've got creep spread to put out there. So that's the only thing I would say. Clem has started to mine the middle of the map, so you can have access to the bottom side, so you can check this hatchery as well. So I think that's important to be able to actually maybe control the creep down there a little bit. Let's see if Serral does expand down there in the end. He doesn't, so never mind everything I said. It does make more sense for me, I think, for Zerg to expand up here, because I do just think it's so hard to fight a Terran if they can get in this position, and that's just more likely to happen if they're pulling you around down in this position to begin with, right? Like, this is basically your third, but this can kind of act as the third in terms of location. And yeah, those pushes, I mean, even expanding down here, if tanks get up here, you're kind of fighting down one area. Like, even coming around here is not pretty, and then the tanks are still, like, stuck in a corner, so they're having a pretty good time anyway. So yeah, honestly, I kind of like Clem, Serral, actually expanding up the right side. Still intrigued as to why he maybe set up to take this bottom side or to mine over there, maybe trying to play a mind game, maybe had intentions, but then Clem saw it, so he kind of pulled back from the idea. Definitely a couple of ways to look at that, as we do see the armory building up from Clem in the back of the main base. Marines getting some damage done. This Ovi is going to drop down dead. This is a fun little attack because it's going to be a Marine, a Widow Mine, and then he's actually going to have the armory for the Hellbats. And if he can get a good amount of Queens with this... Oh no, Clem! You can't lose Hellions like this. When you're going for a Hellbat attack, especially so. The problem is, like, you just need every Hellbat. And I was going to say, if you can get Queens with this, then the Liberator becomes even more effective. It can be very annoying, but... He's not getting Queens with this anymore. Not after losing a Hellion. Now he's got another Hellion that's already very, very low. Another Hellions all joining up together. We do see the Medivac unable to do much either. Serral pushes this away with ease, and the early game just isn't quite clicking right now for Clem, I don't think. You know, I feel like it's just little things that we're so used to seeing Clem be... That's why I'm critical. You know, if anyone else in the world loses a Hellion, I'm like, oh, you know, that's a bit unfortunate. But Clem is just so good. We know he's good enough not to lose those things. And especially when you're trying to play styles like this with these Hellbats, I think it's very important to not lose anything either. So it's even, you know, then you can maybe criticize most players for losing stuff, because the Hellions are, even every single Hellion is super important, right? Liberator gets sieged up on the natural. The Widowmine drops on the main. He's actually denying mining in like 3 different places, which is pretty sick. He's going to actually just run in with the Hellions here, but doesn't find anything. The Widowmine's going to be dodged. Solid play by Serral, just really, yeah, losing mining time. Look at the income graph spiking up as Serral basically doesn't mine off 2 bases, but he doesn't lose the drones. It's not permanent damage. It's just a glitch in the game for him. And now he's fixed up. Now he's reset. That Liberator's gone down. You know, Clem actually paid with that Liberator. We know how annoying he can be on maps like this, where the Lib can go from, you know, here to the natural, to the third, to the main. And yet he gave it up to try and just deny mining as long as possible. So it's a price Clem has paid. He's given up a unit early. And so we saw that faster lair this game. So Spire is a little bit more quick on the get-go. It means his upgrades will be a little bit later. I would love to see that Bane speed be started as something of a priority as well. But he's a bit gassed off for everything he wants to do. He wants to start Carapace very soon here to get 1-1. He wants to start the Bane speed as well. And he's also looking to afford mutas in the not-so-distant future. So that's a little bit of the gas mining being denied from the main and the natural coming into play there. That little bit of gas that was denied because of all of this kind of movement of Clem's harassment is having some results. You're starting to see some stuff on the map. Like, Serral is just not going to be able to afford Mutalisks when he wants to afford Mutalisks right now. 1-1 on the engineering base, already building up the 4th base in the top right side from Serral going as well. And Drilling Claws is on the way out from Clem. He's already building a 2nd factory, so he's very happy to play a mine style. Against Serral, who's playing mutas, it makes perfect sense as well to keep on with mines. And having that 2nd factory so soon means he's going to have so many mines with that Drilling Claws so quick. We'll see if that's something that can bring Clem some success. The other thing I'd like to mention is I do feel it opens the opportunity, opens the doorway to maybe some Widow Mine drops from a fairly early stage of the game. I mean, 3 or 4 Widow Mines in a Medivac with the Drilling Claws, they can get so much damage done. You know it, right? Like, they can get so much damage done. As the Marines unload, and I like this push up the top side. Armory in play, remember, so you can morph Hellions into Hellbats. It's one of the big things about keeping the Hellions alive early. The fact that you get to go again with them now. Needs to split 1 Hellbat ahead of the rest to tank the Banes. And it's that Bane speed just not starting up when I was talking about it. That lack of gas not allowing him to maybe give him Clem a real opportunity here where he doesn't have to fight speed Banes. Really makes this a bit more engageable. It's dangerous. Bane speed a few seconds away. Serral is dancing, waiting for Baneling speed. He knows the difference that will make in this fight. And here come the extra Banes as well. He scared Clem away. Mutas show up in the main base. Preparation from Clem is almost zero. The preparation is that he had some reinforced Marines nearby. 7 SCV is a fantastic start considering this is only 5 Mutalisks. Don't think Serral was expecting much there. But obviously no missile turret gives him an opportunity to get a lot done. Yeah, that's great. Obviously, one of the things Terrans love about this map is this gold-based economy, so they can get a boosted gold-based eco early in the game, and that really helps them to propel themselves forward in the mid-game, make that kind of later game a little bit better, you know, because they enter the later game with a bit of a kind of a head start, you know, from where they would usually be. Nice attempt to catch a medevac there. I'm not sure why he lifted the Hellbat. It's almost like he thought that needed saving. It was the medevac that needed to be saved for a moment. I'm pushing again, up 20 supply, but I'm honestly kind of a believer. Serral's got creep. He's got a lot of lings. He's got mutas. I don't really think... I mean, there's only a couple mines here. Yeah, he cleans out the mines with the Banes, and I think that's a fine trade. Not ideal, but he does have more Banes ready to go, so I don't think Clem can really end this with this push forward. I think Serral just has a little bit too much. And Serral's hitting that comfort zone as well. 81 drones. He can just pump out a lot of Ling Bane meter right now. He can just make units after units. And Clem's getting ready to set up for 4th base. But as he gets ready for the 4th base, you can already see Serral setting up something through the top side. Whether that's going to be a straight-up flank in or whether it's actually going to be a full-on counterattack, I think it's going to be a counterattack first. And then if the counter doesn't work, then you can make it a flank and a surround. So it kind of hits like, you know, it ticks 2 boxes at once. It's, you know, kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Yeah, or if it doesn't hit the first bird, it's going to redirect to the second bird. It's a boomerang, I guess. And as you do see, the queens are going to transfuse each other up. A few Banes continuing in. The Marines getting chased away. Overlords being picked off, and that's kind of deadly. A lot of Ovies going down. Well, the Lings are going to continue their run by. I mean, it does mean Serral is missing these units from the fight. Oh, units are going to wall the front, so that means Clem can't get in very easily. He's still pressing to get into the front over here. But this is an unsuccessful run by from Serral. At this point, I think I would kind of like him to pull it back, but Clem's also not threatening the front anymore. Serral finds himself a Widow Mine to start, and I think he's going to die for this missile turret. Instant repair from Clem. There's a Widow Mine in range. It's not worth committing to. These last few Lings go down. Serral lost a lot of Lings in this. That was a very expensive set of Lings. I mean, he lost a lot, and he just didn't kill much. That was, what, like 30, 40 Zerglings that ran in and just did nothing at all? And stemming through, the Muta's taking some extra damage. Creep tumors are dropping across everywhere. Things will continue to roll on forward. The 4 dropping down. The Muta's taking some shots, and around the top side, the Ling Bane trying to see where it can get to. Well, Marines trying to run in. Mutas wanting to push in as well. A few Lings getting a bit of a surround here. But the Baneling's starting to show up, and we do see the Marines staying split as the Thor's going to tank a couple of extra shots towards the end of this. I'm still pushing forward over the right-hand side. Lings, Banes continuing through Widow Mine. I always wonder sometimes how these Widow Mines never connect. Man, Clem has the momentum right now, and Serral is struggling. He's really kind of cutting it thin on getting his new round of Banelings ready for each of these fights, and that's always a big kind of factor to tell you kind of where the Zerg is at in terms of defending something like this. Good repair from Clem. Double Widow Mine shot in the Mutalisks. That's big. That really softens them up for future. It really lets the missile turrets do their job even better. Now Serral is chasing off creep with some of these Banes. Where's the next round of Banelings? Only just started, and he's almost running out already. The target fire is beautiful from Clem, and that will take him through to a 1-1 scoreline. Yeah, beautiful target firing the Banes. The other Banes have just started morphing. Serral cannot stay in this game without Banelings. GG, we tie up 1-1 in the best of 5 final. Game number 3, tied up 1-1 this grand finals. Guaranteed 4 maps now is in the top left-hand side. Our red Zerg player from NC Sports. This is Serral. Bottom right from Team Liquid. Well-controlled game. It's Clem. In the bottom right, it just kind of felt like, you know, Serral had to spend a lot of time buying time in the top right corner when that push came with the Hellbats that morphed in. And that kind of, you know, because it all comes back to what happened earlier. I'm a strong believer, you know. He denied mining in the main and natural Clem. That delayed the gas a bit. That delayed the Bane speed. That delayed the defense in the top right. And that all costs quite a lot. And I think that, then combined with those lings that Serral ran across the map, a lot of you saying it wasn't 30 to 40, but it was a sizable amount of lings that didn't do anything, then Clem's next push is very, very scary. And it does a very good job of just pushing forward and getting the job done. You could see Serral was always like on the bare bones of surviving, because every time he survived, he didn't have another round of Banes. They were just morphing still when the next attack came in. And eventually that caught up to him. Eventually that meant Clem was able to take the little extra push forward and just end the game. I mean, the muta counterattacks were successful at points, but less successful at others, and especially toward the end, they were being shut down multiple times in a row, and that just takes away something that Serral's trying to get out, out of the game as well. Honestly, just a well-played game from Clem. It was well played by Serral too, but obviously Clem played it better to get the win. But yeah, I truly believe that it was a pretty good setup. All right. Bottom right side, our SCV makes its way back home after checking out what's up. Sorry, Reaper's already across the map. Sorry, I was standing up for a moment and was just sitting back down. Missed the Reaper, apologies. It's been a long day, 10.5 hours of casting. As you do see, the Reaper just going to patrol down into the middle of the map, and yeah, it's just going to patrol over here. A few lings going to go around the left side, and Hatchery is building on the third base. Again, the hatch up and running. A Queen comes in, shot off onto the Reaper already. Starport builds in the main base here, so just seeing a very standard double gas opener from Clem again. I feel like Clem just knows he can't play 3cc against Serral. Because I feel like if you go 3cc against Serral, like 1 gas 3cc, you just don't have the opportunity to deal damage like you kind of need to take an advantage into the mid game. Like, I feel like it lets Serral control the game too much. Serral is going to open with the Roach Roar on here, so looking for a little bit of early damage. And ooh, this is nice. Some lings just showing up, and oh wow, those Hellions are out of position, still in production. 4 SCVs this early in the game. Oh, that's actually a pretty big deal, as Serral adds on 5 more drones. If he cuts here, he could go for like a Roach Ling all in off 39 workers. It's a pretty popular way to play this. He's taking a 3rd gas. A lot of Overlords finishing him. He's going to do something with the Roach Roar, so a lot of Roaches make sense. And oh, for a moment, he started Burrow. Reaper and the Hellions being pushed around. It's really nice if you can actually push these Reapers and Hellions away. He starts double Evo Chamber here to wall. You kind of want to hide the Roaches. The double Evo is a fake as well, just in case the units poked forward, but they didn't, so Serral cancels them now. Starts up a Spore, just precautionary. Hey, did Clem see that Roach? I'm not 100% sure if he did. I don't think he did. No reaction back at home to it being a Roach popping out there. Now he's going to see the Roaches. They show up, and the Hellions actually got a pretty decent first shot off on them. Now the reaction comes in. Bunker quite far back. Second bunker to the left side. Lings to stream in behind this. Hey, this is actually really interesting because Clem hasn't got a 3rd CC. He's only on 2 bases. He went to 3 racks before to 3 CC. And that means if he holds, he's going to have a really strong counterattack. But I think it's also really important to note, if he takes any amount of SCV damage, it's going to be much more difficult for him to recover from that SCV damage than usual, because he doesn't have the 3rd base. So you need to keep that in mind here. If Clem takes any amount of SCV losses, the rebuild isn't going to be as good as usual, but the counterattack may be better than usual. So that's one thing to keep in mind. This is kind of like a 2-base all-in from Clem. With the single engineering bay, etc. It's very committed on 2 bases anyway, so no problem with that is it doesn't really build up. Those extra racks don't kick into play soon enough for it to make a huge difference against a Ling Bayonet or Ling Ravager attack like this. So you're not seeing Clem with like an overwhelming amount of units already for it being a 2-base attack. As these Lings coming in, the Ravager Roach backs away to the side. The Overlord wants high ground vision to get this siege tank. The new siege tank is actually quite far back in production. I honestly expect it to be a bit sooner. Oh, it's a good unsiege. It actually saves the tank because those Ravagers were absolutely going to be looking for it there. Ling's going for more SCVs in this mineral line. As of course, Serral has just been droning behind this. So he's up at 54 to 32 workers. So it's the counterattack for Clem then. It's the counterattack that has to deal damage in all of this. He doesn't have the 3rd CC to build back up the economy very easily. He's down 27, almost 30 workers. He needs to counterattack and do major damage. Biggest problem may just be the fact that the Starport doesn't have a reactor, so it's only one medevac at a time. That limits the healing in this. That's a problem, of course. I mean, the counterattack will be good. The big thing is there's not going to be Baneling speed. It's just going to be roaches. And the other big thing is he actually killed pretty much all the units, right? The only units that were left was one Ravager. Only one Ravager means that Serral, anything he wants for defense, he has to build fresh from the start here. There's not just like a magic sort of like, oh yeah, I saved like 4 roaches and a couple of Ravagers, so I already have a baseline set of units to defend with. That doesn't exist in this scenario. Medevac loads up. Tank is going to move forward and just going to be seeing Clem continuing to the upper left-hand side. Ready for this push that we've obviously talked about being oh so important right now to get him back in this game. What can Serral do? Man, Serral's spending so much money. Infestation Pit, that's not going to help. 1-1 melee upgrades. I mean, they're going to help in the end, but like, it's a lot of investment that's happening that won't actually help immediately. Good first Biles, though, gets rid of a siege tank. It's important for Clem to maybe get rid of some of these Ravagers to stop that happening again in the future. Try and target fire down Ravagers with the siege tanks. I can appreciate that. It's only Marines left. Is it enough? No. Serral has held and pushed Clem back. And again, Clem is basically all in with this attack. Down 20 workers still. Okay, now he starts a third CC. Now he's realizing he's in a lot of trouble. So he starts the third CC up, but it's way too late for that. It's way, way, way too late for that. It's just going to be seeing the Marines continue to join up together and just going to come back down the right-hand side as we do have the Hive is on the way up in the main base. Again, the Hive coming in. A lot of Lings down the left and just going to be seeing the Ling Bane Ravager on the right. I mean, he's about to have Bane speed, 1-1 melee upgrades. All the ways in which Serral was behind have now basically disappeared. So all the ways that Clem had chances to maybe end this game with counter really are fast disappearing. I think this push is the last scary thing Clem has in this game. Because behind this, he's on what, a very late third base and a very low economy. I don't see that being enough to play a longer game out against Serral. So you kind of need to like kill a base or kill a lot of drones with this. Otherwise, or trade like super efficiently so you can keep the pressure up after this. Tank's going to siege. The Bane speed is here. Oh, Bane's back away though. But he gets a tank already. So already one tank down. You can actually see Lings watching for the third base across the map as we're going to be seeing the SCVs a long distance mining ahead of time from Clem if you're watching on the mini-map. The next tank goes down. The medevac's going to try dropping the main. Clem just types out game. You can see he knows there's just no follow-up to this, right? This attack was like the last thing he could realistically do that had any hope. And it doesn't work. And so Serral takes game number 3 and goes up 2-1 in the best of 5. On the left-hand side, we start off with the man who is in position to take this series down. One more map win for him will do it. In the bottom left, our red Zerg player is Serral. Top right, we've got the blue Terran player. Give it up for Team Liquid's Clem. Everybody's cheering Clem right now, right? Because we won a game number 5. That's how this works. Nobody's cheering for Serral to end the series on 4 maps, right? We want a game 5. I'm pretty sure. If you disagree, then I respectfully disagree in return. I counter your disagreement. Oh, Eternal Empire really has given us so many great TvZ games. It is one of these maps which I'm sad to see go a little bit, but I'm not sad to see it go because it's just been in the map pool for so long. Like, it's a good map. I wouldn't be against Eternal Empire return to a map pool in like a year or two, you know? But like right now, it's just like, I've seen this map so much. I'm very ready for it to change, to get some new maps in this map pool. I feel like the next map pool is going to be so fun for a while. Something fresh, something new. So we've also played like 2 seasons of DreamHack on this map pool. That's something else to remember. 2 seasons of DreamHack, War Chest Team League. Like, we've had so many major events on this set of maps. So many major events on this set of maps. Obviously a great one for TvZ. The push potential onto bases, the left versus right dynamic, the ability to split armies and go multiple directions. Obviously the 5 bases that are very easy to hold onto is a pretty big deal. That's the V-Scout just making sure this is indeed a hatchery first once again, as Clem will show up with the Reaper into the natural, a few lings around, and a bit of back and forth to start, of course. I mean, we saw some real Reaper moves back in that first game. Can't quite get over those still. That was pretty sick from Clem, as one ling goes down, the other lings and the Queen help to chase this Reaper away, pushing it back into the center. Tech Lab on the barracks factory on the way. It's a second rack, so it's a 2-on-1 opener from Clem. Obviously a very kind of a big change up in pacing from what he's been doing previously. He's actually gone for a lot of Hellbats. Last game was a bit more kind of standard, I suppose. Well, last game he was trying to go 2 bases, but it wasn't off a 2-on-1. It was still off the factory starport. So this time he's going to go 2-on-1, dancing to deny this Reaper, this drone. Sorry. Obviously it is big to deny the drone on internal because the third hatchery isn't really valid and elsewhere. You actually just can't take a third hatchery like here, because the Liberator actually sits here and is untouchable and denies mineral patches, so as this Reaper goes down, it does get caught between the Queens. There's not really an alternate third, so denying this really just denies the third. You just can't go anywhere else as Serral. And Clem just building up for the 2-1-1, so we'll see how well Serral copes with this. Typically 44, 45 drones, and then you cut into ling production. Against a double racks open and no Hellions, you typically also go into an earlier evolution chamber because you can put a few lings early. And you can go into a Carapace upgrade really early in the game. And that's really good because they're fighting with like a lot of Marines from early, and the Carapace helps out a lot against Marines when you're playing with melee units because obviously they're hitting you from a distance a lot. So you're taking a lot of hits. The 2-on-1 is really, really good against somebody who rushes a quick lair because they don't have many units. So this fast lair is problematic. However, Serral gets the scout with the lings, so you have to drop a Baneling nest in response to this, I think. Usually 44 drones, lings, and then into a Bane nest works for the second round. But because this time it's actually a, because it's a fast lair, he can't really go just 44 drones and lings, I don't think. Because he doesn't have the Queen count, because he has to, he's producing a lair on one of the hatcheries. So I think the Bane nest is kind of essential in earlier Banelings to help push those Marines back a little bit. It's still tough, though. It's still tough. Oh, these Marines just not want to get in the medevacs. Oh no! The lings show up at the perfect time. Units anywhere? Anybody? No. An SCV is trying to fight it. He's going to get the cancel on the third base. A Marine shows up. Oh my god. This is... It's the little things from Serral, man. Like, these lings show up at the perfect time. A cancel on the third is huge. It slows your opponent down so much. I'm still a bit worried about what's over here to properly defend this. Serral losing an Overlord as well early. Queens want to try and target down those medevacs, push those away. Few lings showing up. Clem doesn't mess around. He just gets out of there. 46 drones on the defense. I think the big thing is he hasn't put use into the lair. Right? He's got money, a bit of money he can spend on the lair now. But he really did prioritize defending this attack initially. And it worked. Yeah, nicely done. Next medevac coming along. This is where you really need the Banes for like the extra medevac. Like, lings and queens defend the first round of units, but the second round of units, you do need the, a bit of splash damage for. It just hits that critical mass of Marines, where a ling surround with queen support doesn't get the job done any longer, so... Just going to be seeing our Marines in the Widow Mine wanting to push up this ramp. A group teamer goes down. Lings wanting to run in. A couple of Banes finishing. Obviously, no Bane speed, but it's good enough to force the lift off. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The Widow Mine shot. Maybe he could have target fired a Bane, but I think the Banes would have backed away. Serral was aware of the mine. He microed against it. He was just trying to leave it to the last second to make sure it baited onto just 1 or 2 lings. That was pretty smart, actually. As well. I mean, everything that Serral does is usually well played, isn't it? Right, well, Clem did get his third CC up, so it's moving into position now, but obviously a little later than he would have liked it. It's non-orbital before moving out, so little things that come from that cancel earlier in the game. Little things we can keep an eye on. Bunch of Marines just going to load up into those medevacs immediately and going straight across on the counterattack again. SCVs have to pull out of there. They just can't really justify sticking around, can they? Not in the slightest. Well, extra racks from Clem building in the main base. Still got this third orbital about to finish up. It's a good amount of Marines on this bottom side. I mean, this next push, the thing is with the 2-1-1, you just consistently have like that higher bio count than usual. And it's scary, but Serral's kind of hitting his stride now. The only thing is he's skipping upgrades. I wonder if Serral's got intentions of just going kind of all out Link Bay and 0-0 upgrades and like ending the game soon. Or if I mean, there is also just the fact that I think he's been slowed down a lot with this aggression, so he's not had a chance to sneak out Evo Chambers. He's been forced to take the left side of the map for his fourth. No creep in front of the third is one of the big things about 2-1-1. You deny the creep really, really well initially. Good save. He actually picks that Widow Mine up. He saves it. Mutas are going to show up. There's a few Banes about to get here as well. There's not the defense to properly defend this. The Banes are going to take the attention of the Marines away, and now the SCVs are kind of on their own. Muta's just going to have a fun time. They move into the main base. Missile turret isn't ready, and Serral is going to start getting some serious damage done with these Mutalisks, right? This is going to be 10 workers killed and counting. And there's no anti-air here. I mean, a Widow Mine shows up. That's a dead Mutalisk if you want to fight into it, but he just goes back down to the third. Okay, there's a Widow Mine here as well. He flies over the Widow Mine. Whoa, double Widow Mine. The Mutas take some big shots. Bottom side of the map, we do see the big commitment in. Clem, unfortunately, ends up kind of kiting away to the area that there is more creep spread on. Serral cleans up without upgrades. He's killed a lot of SCVs. He still doesn't have Evo Chambers. Sorry, he hasn't put them into use until just now. He needs those Evo Chambers to come into play. The thing is, these Mutas know these Medivacs are over here, and he knows they're on their own. And those are massive pickoffs. They're going to boost. They're going to try and get away, but Serral should at least be able to get a couple of them, or any Marines nearby to come and save the day. They are not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught some Medivacs alive. And Serral cleans up on the right side of the map. Huge pickoffs there, getting that Medivac count reset. There's not a Medivac on the map for 30 Marines at the moment. Such a huge catch for Serral. Really good hunt to shut that down. Widow Mines continuing along the left as these get burrowed already. The Banes want to start rolling forward. Widow Mine, a couple of Banelings connecting in there. We do see the little Ling run by got shut down. Mine still in that mineral line defensively. This is one of those games where I do feel like Serral is now starting to take control a bit. But you've got to respect what Clem has achieved, which is there's not a lot of creep on the map, so that gives him some good pushing potential. Good pushing potential plus huge upgrade window advantages. That is Clem's opportunity still in this game. So while it does feel like Serral is kind of having a pretty good time cleaning stuff up and so on, I do still believe a bit for Clem right now. You know, I still see that he's got chances to get stuff done here. 2 of those Widow Mines go down. Cost him a few Banes, though. Those Widow Mines don't have drilling cores, by the way. This is just kind of the armory giving them invisibility on the follow-up. A little Ling run by trying to get through. Not really much luck there. The units that are reinforcing kind of catch them. Serral. He's going to get into the Widow Mine here. It's the efficiency on the Mutas he's looking for. He's about to have 1-1, so maybe he can take some larger fights. The big thing is, how many stims is he forcing, right? All of these stims that get forced, only 3 Medivacs to heal. Those Medivacs are going to be out of energy soon. Clem is basically always going to be hunting for HP on his Marines in this game. Like, pretty much from start to finish, it's going to be non-stop, give me more health bars. Like, he's never going to have healthy Marines. Coming down here, Baneling goes down. He's coming in. That's a dead Marine. I mean, Ling Marine counterattack. He's going to knock the depot down, so suddenly there's no wall off here anymore. And the reproduction, the reinforcements are in some trouble. Clem's going to find himself really struggling. He's actually got a call down supply depot here. That goes down. And Clem's in the verge of being supply blocked as well. Well, not that his reinforcements are going to get much of a chance if they get out on the map at the moment. Lings and Mutas in the main, in the natural as well. Drop on the bottom side. Hitting this hatchery real good. And at least he's maybe going to get that. Nope, he doesn't. Lings get there in time to defend it. Mutas are now going to rotate out to maybe a potential 4th base. He finds a Widow Mine. He finds another Widow Mine, a Medivac. SCVs are long distancing still for some reason. He needs to notice that Widow Mine, otherwise he's in a bit of trouble. 5 bases are up. Sorry, 6 bases are up for Serral. How does he do this? Like, it feels like I blinked he sent the mutas across the map, and bases just appeared. Like, I knew this one was up, I knew he was taking this one, and I mentioned this one was under attack, but when did he actually get these? You know what I'm saying? He's mad when it comes to stuff like this. Very late on the upgrades, though. +2 Capes was even delayed beyond the +2 melee, so he's still fighting a huge upgrade deficit. But because he got all those other bases up, he can just sacrifice this base if he doesn't want to fight it. And the thing is, on this bottom right side of the map, he's actually getting creep out in front of the bases, something he wasn't able to do over here because of the previous fights. So he's used this attention on the left side to really set up the right side of the map in his favor, and now maybe he can actually fight over here against a Clem who's pushing forward, looking for some action, but he will have to step onto creep, and right now he's not got Widow Mines burrowed up or anything. Lovely that target fire on the mutas onto the Widow Mine. Just able to pick one off as it gets burrowed. A lot of the Widow Mines are quite far back, so we can't really shut a lot of them down easily or very quickly here. Pretty good play against the Widow Mines. That one from here actually nearly hit dead center on Banelings, but not quite in the end. Serral wants to re-engage, I think, and some of the Marines in the front are already going down. The other mutas coming forward. The Marines still trying to fight this. The Lings are actually thinking about maybe a wraparound here. There isn't any Widow Mines left, so it's actually a good call to go chasing. Mutas have to be a little bit careful, but he forces the lift up. Mutas are right here, though. Clem, this is not going to work. I understand the necessity of it, but 2 full medevacs go down. Clem's supply is being dismantled as we speak. Lone Widow Mine is going to get a couple units, but now goes down. And Clem does not have the numbers anymore, and he will just accept that as it stands. Game is called, and Serral is your ESL Open Cup Europe champion. He wins a weekly cup, and honestly, he wins in dominating fashion. He wins in kind of Serral-esque fashion.